Hi, everyone, and welcome to Brian's Horror Corner, and welcome to this horror movie pack review as part of my April series, where I review random horror movie packs that I have in my collection. Um, Today, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a very specific one, and that's on vampires. I have the super pack vampires here, four new movies. So yeah, just like the other ones, we're just going to go through them one by one, and I'll give you my thoughts, and then I'll talk about the overall horror pack and whether I'm going to keep it or sell it, and maybe try to find single releases for any of these movies. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and go in release order. So I kind of know the years that these came out. So the first one we're going to look at is Blood Wine, which is actually probably my favorite of the four. Um, I should add, none of these movies are particularly like high production value, or I wouldn't even say they're none of them are really great. Um, but I do like some of them, and I'll kind of get into that. This one I like the most, I think, Blood Wine. It came out in 2008. And this is the one about a couple of college co-eds. One of them's a very gothic kind of girl, and she lost her boyfriend who hung himself a year or something earlier, and she's dealing with that. And then her roommate's a good friend of hers, and she gets the roommate a bottle of wine from a kind of a weird bottle of wine, weird looking from a shop, and let's just say it's a little bit more than she bargained for. It's a gift for her friend for her birthday. Um, and yeah, things kind of take off from there. So obviously, as a vampire theme, you can probably guess by the title, Blood Wine, exactly what happens. So I just really enjoyed this one. I mean, again, it's nothing groundbreaking, but I enjoyed the performances of the two main actresses. Their names aren't listed here, but not only did I thought they did a pretty good job in the roles, but they're also it was pretty easy to stay engaged with them from a easy on the eye standpoint. So yeah, I actually enjoyed Blood Wine. I think it's my favorite of this particular pack here. Um, then moving on to the next one, I'd probably go Livestock next. This was released in 2009. It's a very interesting take on the vampires. This is more of about a group of people, um, like kind of like a support group kind of thing, or but obviously they don't give too much away for the first half of the movie, but you kind of have your suspicions, and then there's these two young women that are living together that kind of have different paths, and they end up colliding with this group of mysterious strangers in the big. I think this is in New York City, yeah, because you can see the towers there. Livestock, you're just cattle to them, and that's a good tagline for this movie. But once again, I found this movie enjoyable. It isn't anything overly great or groundbreaking, but the performances were good enough. There's some good blood and gore in it, a little bit of nudity. Um, by the way, this one has some nudity as well. If that's your if that's your thing, all of these are on rated, I should say. Or yeah, I don't think any of these are. I think they're all on rated, or they are rated. I don't know. R squared films. No, I believe they're all unrated. But anyway, but yeah, Livestock is a good movie, and it's got a really nice ending, kind of a creepy, not a twist ending, but a where everything's revealed kind of ending. It's very very creepy. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to give too much away in case you guys want to check it out. But these two, I would definitely, they're definitely worth a one-time watch. Then next, also 2009 would be Nightcrawlers. Now, this one's actually more of a horror comedy. These ones are just straight up vampire horror. This is more vampire horror comedy. Um, again, it's not the funniest horror movie I've ever seen. It's not the best horror comedy I've ever seen, but I enjoyed it for what it was. You know, it's a couple of country bumpkins basically, and one of them's girlfriend is pregnant at the beginning, and they're offered some money and reward to go into this house and take a certain item out for this mysterious gentleman, and the movie kind of goes from there. What I like about it is it's a short movie. And I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes, if that, maybe an hour 16 minutes, and it moves along pretty well. There's definitely some decent comedy in it, some gore. Um, Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of a fun movie to put on. Now, again, if I had my choice of horror comedies, this would be not my top 10 to reach for. But as far as this pack goes, I enjoyed it well enough. I mean, I thought that obviously it's not scary or anything, and not all the jokes landed for me. A very low budget, as all of these are lower budget kind of movies. But it takes place in a small Texas town, I believe, and there's this weird cop that's kind of acts like a big kid or something. It's weird. It's very weird, and but I kind of had fun with it. And again, the runtime is the reason why none of these are. They're all kind of about an hour and a half at most, or around there. This one is the shorter one, though, of the four of them, I believe. Um, so yeah, these three I want to pay special attention to because and talking about the fourth one, I can tell you that these three are worlds better than the fourth one here, which is entitled Jezebeth. Jezebeth, a Damien Dante film. There is no God, there is only Jezebeth. That's the tagline. Oh my God, this movie. This doesn't even feel like a movie. Quite honestly, it feels like a couple 14-year-old boys, goth boys whose parents abandoned them at an early age, got a hold of some cheap camcorders and shot this over a couple of weekends or something. The dialogue's awful, the acting is awful, the production is awful. There's actually in the ending credits, there's actually mention of Hot Topic that half the costumes were some of the things used in this movie apparently were purchased from Hot Topic. It's just it's one of the worst movies you could imagine. It really is. The opening credits go on for about 8 minutes. The ending credits last about 8 minutes, and then there's a scene of a strip club in the middle of this movie that goes on for about 12 minutes. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything. Um, you talk about a filler of a movie with a really messed up storyline that doesn't make any sense. And oh God, the acting and the dialogue is so atrocious. I swear to God, a couple of 14-year-old boys wrote it. I really do. There is nudity in it, if that's your thing, but it's not even good nudity. Like the strip club, it was probably the least exotic or least erotic strip club you could imagine. It's just the production of this movie. It really does look like it was shot for a couple $100 over the course of 3 weeks. So stay away from Jezebel. But the other three, I have to say, I'd probably watch them again. Now, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch them, but I enjoyed them well enough. Horror comedy, my favorite horror of the pack, and second favorite of the pack, and definitely one to stay the hell away from and never watch again. Um, Maybe if I was completely wasted or something, I wanted a good. I mean, this movie actually makes me laugh more than this movie, and this is a horror comedy. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, that's Super Pack Vampires. After I watched this one first, of course, I went right down the line. I thought for sure I'd be selling this one. And even when I saw this one, I thought, well, it was okay. But then this one I liked quite a bit because of the two main female leads. And then this one was good enough to, I think I'm not probably going to keep this pack and just probably like rip everything out above this line here and pretend that it doesn't exist, quite frankly, and just make it a 3 pack, my own homemade 3 pack. Because these three movies I will watch again at some point. Again, none of them are overly great vampire movies. None of them are overly great horror movies or comedy movies in the case of that one, but they're not the worst things I've ever seen. There's enough good. These three have enough good enough acting, good enough budget production value for being a low budget movie. Like I said, this one I don't. This isn't even a low production, low budget movie. This is a couple of teenagers that shot it on a camcorder. It really does look like that with a couple of chicks they found off the street basically that were I don't know what the hell they were doing at a coffee shop or something. Just listen to some of the dialogue if you're ever unfortunate enough to check this movie out. But yeah, I think these three are just strong enough that I'm probably going to keep this at least for now. Because I do like, and this needs to be reiterated through this series, because it might sound to some people like I'm not big on like unless it's like a Hollywood blockbuster. That's simply not true. I actually like, especially from the '80s, but even all of these from the 2000s. I actually like some like lower budgeted or B movies, if you want to say B horror movies. I just find them interesting. I find them fun, and I can have a good time with them. But my God, there's got to be some competence to them. And these three have some. That's all. I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, I think I'll be keeping my Super Pack vampires. Go ahead and comment down below. I'd be interested if anybody's ever seen any of these four movies. If you've seen the first one, Jezebeth, you have my condolences. But go ahead and give me your thoughts on what you think of any of the four if you've seen them. I don't even know if they're available actually on single releases like Livestock and the ones I actually like, Blood Wine, and I haven't checked and Nightcrawler. So I might want that might be the reason to keep this anyway because I don't know if I could get them on their own, and I don't really know if I wanted to because, like I said, they're not that great, but they're good enough. There's enough of them that are good enough for me to keep in this pack. So yeah, that's my review for this horror pack. Please like this video and hit the little notification bell down below so you don't miss any of my upcoming reviews for this series. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel down below so you don't miss any of my great horror content coming up, including the rest of this series, but also what I have coming up over the next 3 or 4 months, which is already planned. So thank you for watching this video and stay tuned and stay scared. Bye, everyone.